What's up, We Are Wrestling Maniacs? Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Donnie, Ben, and Phil for 100 episodes on the We Are Wrestling podcast. My favorite memory on the podcast is when Edge made his debut and Ben screamed like a girl and the cops got called and he had to explain to the cops that it wasn't a girl screaming, it was just him marking out to Edge.
What's going on? This is Stanley Carr of the Wrestling with Heart podcast. I just wanted to give a special shout out to We Are Wrestling for reaching 100 episodes. Wow, that is so awesome. What a milestone. Congratulations. So glad to be a guest on the show. And I wish you guys nothing but success. Here's to 100 more.
This is Justin Largito from the Perched on the Top Rope podcast. I want to take a minute to congratulate We Are Wrestling on the major milestone of 100 episodes. You guys are killing it every week, proving that the grind is real consistently, and hopefully this is to many more episodes coming out of nowhere like an RKO.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy JT. Congratulations to We Are Wrestling. 100 episodes. Salute to Best One Donnie. Watch the videos, watch-alongs, reactions, Ricky Knows Best segments. Keep running it up and keep on grinding.
We Are Wrestling. This is the proud papa of Blitzkrieg Pro. This is Leary. Want to congratulate y'all on 100 episodes. Working your asses off. Always showing support. Not just talking about it, being about it. And proving that the grind is real. Ben, Donnie, congratulations. Can't wait for 200.
Hey, what do you say? Tommy Paradise here from the Fig Cave podcast. And I'm here to give a huge shout out to 100 episodes to my friend, Best One, Donnie. Congratulations, man, on the We Are Wrestling podcast, hitting 100 episodes and 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's an amazing accomplishment. Here's to 100 more, 1,000 more, 1,000,000 more. I'll see you at the next Blitzkrieg show, my guy.
Congratulations on 100 episodes, Donnie and Ben. We Are Wrestling. Voice of the faithful here, Blitzkrieg Pro. We Are Wrestling, old school versus new school. My favorite memory would have to be, I don't know, every nickname Donnie's come up with for himself. That's one of my favorites. And that goddamn intro, man, like, the grind is real. I mean, and it's also real trying to get through that fucking thing, man, every time. Like, bro, we get it. You love yourself.
Hey guys, Bill at Zombie Hideout here. Just wanted to give a big shout out to our favorite wrestling podcast, We Are Wrestling. Donnie and the guys are killing it. 100 episodes. Can't wait to catch the next one, guys. Congratulations.
What's going on, We Are Wrestling? This is Ricky Williams, a.k.a. Ricky Knows Best. Shout out to We Are Wrestling for the 100th episode. And God bless you guys, and shout out to you guys for putting in that grind. The grind is real. It's very respectful. And y'all love for wrestling is probably second to none. There's a lot of guys out here that do this professional wrestling thing, but I think you guys are number one at it. Shout out to We Are Wrestling. Shout out to the 100th episode. Shout out to the best one, Donnie. And shout out to Uncle Ben. And shout out to everybody that's associated with the We Are Wrestling platform. I hope the platform grows. I wish it nothing but blessings and success. And the future is looking bright for you guys. God bless you guys for even letting me be a part of it. I'm showing my love for professional wrestling.
This is Nick from Captain's Corner, and everyone at Captain's Corner and at the Wrestling Classic wants to wish our friends at We Are Wrestling congratulations on 100 episodes. You guys have been a big part of the Wrestling Classic the last couple of times around. We can't wait for all things with We Are Wrestling coming up, and cheers to another 100 episodes.
What is up, We Are Wrestling Maniacs? Joe here. Just want to congratulate Donnie and Ben on reaching 100 episodes for the We Are Wrestling podcast. And the grind is real.
What is up? I was just watching We Are Wrestling episode 99. I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this episode. It is the 100th episode of We Are Wrestling. I remember doing this when it was the first couple episodes written down, the OG episodes. But man, I just want to say I'm extremely proud of Don, of what he has accomplished, from me and him just being in the corner talking about wrestling to now being successful. Like he says, the grind is real. This channel has grown extremely from 1 subscriber to, I don't even know what we're at. I think last time I checked it was 5.65K. That's so impressive. And Don, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so proud that you can call me a friend, because that's all I could dream about if I was you, Don, in your shoes. You're one of the best content creators I know. That's coming from my heart. But I still make my best to appear on some of these episodes and appear at these shows, because I'm helping a friend out. Don, I love you. Ben, I love you. Ricky, I love you. I'm so happy that we're on episode 100, because we're not even close to being done yet, and I know Don can back me up on that. We're just gonna keep on growing. Love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoy.
I want to take this time and thank all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs and everybody who sent a video in for 100 episodes of the We Are Wrestling podcast. It's incredible to see how far we've grown. And there's one name that hasn't been mentioned yet. And not only do I want to thank my co-host Ben for being a part of the We Are Wrestling podcast, I also want to take this time and thank Danny Huckins for all the hard work that he's put in during the beginning of the We Are Wrestling podcast. And man, we built something so special here, and I couldn't be more grateful to get to do this. I love content creating and I love professional wrestling. The fact that I get to do both of those, to me, is just awesome. And I love each and every one of you guys. And cheers to 100 episodes. And of course, you already know, the grind is real.
We are wrestling. We are wrestling podcast.
They give a shout out to We Are Wrestling on YouTube.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling.
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, the third of the talk show.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, Uncle Ben, America's favorite uncle. And today, guys, for We Are Wrestling 100, I am 1/3 of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Introducing my boy. Take it away, man.
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man, and it's been a couple months, man, so I'm a little bit rusty at doing this, but I appreciate you guys checking out the podcast today, man. It's gonna be awesome.
So happy to have you back, Danny. The boys are back in town. The Big Three is back for We Are Wrestling 100. I feel like doing it with just me and Ben just wouldn't feel right, because you were a huge part of this podcast. And man, we get to celebrate 100 episodes. But before we do that, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to this, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already over on the YouTube channel, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know, the grind is real.
Oh my god, the nostalgia is fucking overtaking my body right now.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, bro.
Danny, we gotta ask you first and foremost. We gotta ask you, Danny, how's everything been, man?
Things are going really good, man. I'm closing in on 1,100 subscribers. I've been fucking on that grind, bro, like crazy.
I've been seeing you, man. I've been seeing it. Congrats, by the way, 1,000 subscribers, official monetization, man. Bro. Hell yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, man. I'm on that verge of getting that YouTube money, man.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah.
And I've been watching a lot of your reaction videos, and I want to let all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs know, guys, go check out Danny Huckins' YouTube channel. He's posting lots of awesome wrestling content over there, and he's still doing his consistent live watch-alongs as well. And like here on the We Are Wrestling channel, we only give you the PLEs. Danny, he's giving you the weekly show still.
Bro, man, can we talk before we get on topic, man? Can we talk about what a crazy match last night was between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage? Bro, shit was nuts.
Brutal, bro.
Oh,
Brutal. Oh my god.
Hey, Adam Copeland is a champion outside of WWE, bro. I mean, it's we are spoiled as fuck as pro wrestling fans, man, because like it doesn't matter if you're a fan of WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA, whatever it is, bro. We have so much access to pro wrestling now. It's fucking insane.
And like a lot of people, man, like I find it funny when a lot of people are like trying to like down talk WWE or down talk TNA or down talk AEW, because at the end of the day, look at the ratings, look at the crowds, bro. They're selling out shows. Everybody right now is winning.
Good,
even the independent circuit is killing it right now.
Absolutely,
yeah, we're eating good wrestling wise, bro.
I'm taking my oldest daughter to her first show tomorrow, man. Blitzkrieg Pro. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, you're going to Blitzkrieg?
Yeah, man.
Let's
Me
go.
and
Oh
Layla.
yeah. Let's go.
Wait, you and Layla are going?
Yeah. Her first show.
Shit.
That's
Fuck
awesome.
yeah.
And by the way,
Yeah.
speaking of Blitzkrieg Pro, yeah, we are man, I'm just right now so happy to have Danny back here. Can't even collect my thoughts. But guys, Blitzkrieg Pro, IWTV, man, We Are Wrestling. We just sponsored the recent match for the Bedlam Championship. TJ Crawford versus Sammy Diaz versus Ali Catchwitch. Next week, we will be having a one-on-one interview with Sammy Diaz, top 5 dead or alive, for a We Are Wrestling Extra. Plus, in a couple weeks, WrestleMania 40, 2-night watch-along. It's going to be insane. I'm sure, Danny, you're also going to be doing a watch-along. And
yeah, bro.
I'm gonna
old
die that
school
weekend.
versus new school, myself and old school Phil still puts me to sleep every time we talk about 40 years of WrestleMania for the month of March.
Can you guys believe we're like 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, bro? It's fucking insane, man.
Yeah, I'm like letting that sink into my skin that I'm gonna die that weekend. I'm gonna die that weekend. Like I'm not gonna. My mind and my body is not prepared for that emotional distress I'm gonna be under the entire fucking weekend, because I'm not sure what's gonna happen, like at all. Like I'm genuinely not sure, other than the outcome of obviously Roman Reigns and Cody. But other than that, everything is up in the air, because the Roman and The Rock could win the tag match. So anything can happen. So it's gonna be a good weekend.
It's going to be an insane weekend for We Are Wrestling, because not only do we have the watch along, but we're also going to be doing a marathon, new videos every day for the week of WrestleMania. The grind is certainly real, but every week here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we do this thing called the highlight of the week. So, Danny, we'll start with you. What's your highlight of the week when it comes to pro wrestling this week?
Oh God. You know, I really enjoyed Cody's promo on Monday Night Raw.
Motherfucker, I was gonna say
was because like we're starting to see that more serious side of Cody. You know what I mean? I mean, for the past couple of weeks, you know, The Rock has been doing nothing but roasting him or whatever, and he's never really clapped back at The Rock. But I feel like Monday, I mean, You know, he told The Rock that he had little dick syndrome. I mean, it doesn't get any more crazy than that.
You know, we're like throwing PG right out the window.
That gave me such. So when I was doing my reaction this week for Monday Night Raw with Cody Rhodes, that gave me a great idea for the thumbnail. What I did was I put a picture of The Rock with like the microphone, and I put an eggplant emoji on the microphone because Cody did the whole little dick energy type of thing.
Yeah, y'all see that Cody might be dyeing his hair back to his original color for WrestleMania, like that little like tease that he put on Instagram.
I did see something like
Yeah.
that.
I
didn't really know what
right
that
after
was all about.
Apparently, he might be dyeing his hair back for it and like going into that like darker Cody like we saw in AEW back in the day at his dog
Oh,
collar
when he
match.
faced Brody
Yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, for the title. And then apparently the band is also playing his song live at WrestleMania.
Ooh, oh, yeah. I can't wait for that.
Those are the two
Cody's
things
not
that are
finished the
swirling.
story.
Bro, I've been
Cody's
talking
gotta
about
finish
this
it.
for a couple of months now, and like it's been a topic of conversation on my streams. Bro, it'll be criminal if Motionless in White doesn't perform at WrestleMania, seeing as they're from fucking Pennsylvania, bro. I mean, I'm just saying.
And it's a big match. And apparently Paramore is like potentially also playing for Bailey because
for
even
Bailey.
Paramore responded. Yeah, the Paramore responded. So
It's just gonna be a giant fucking rock and metal show at that point, bro.
XL. WrestleMania XL, and I'm starting to understand the XL because this is starting to feel bigger and bigger every day that passes. Because like we're getting more information on like what we're potentially expecting, and it's gonna be a spectacle for the ages, bro. WrestleMania 40, I'm telling you right now, is gonna be one of the greatest WrestleManias to go down in history.
As long as Cody finishes the story.
That week is going to be crazy for me. I'll be live for Raw. I'll be live for Dynamite. I'll be live for SmackDown. I'll be live for the Hall of Fame. I'll be live for NXT Stand and Deliver. I'll be live for both nights of WrestleMania. Plus, I'll be live for the Raw After Mania. That's brutal, bro.
You're gonna be taking like a 3-day straight nap, bro. You're gonna like die, and then 3 days later, you're gonna like resurrect yourself, kind of like Jesus did on Easter. And we're basically there in the season, so kind of look at that. We got Jesus' third coming, Danny Huckins, the Messiah.
Man. I mean, you got
the Messiah.
You got to stay on that grind, man. You got to stay on that grind.
Yes, sir.
You got it, bro.
have to. So Ben, what's your highlight of the week?
Well, it was gonna be the Cody promo, but I mean, we kind of dove right into that. My highlight of the week in wrestling. You know, honestly, since we already talked about the Cody promo, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about, you know, Edge and Christian and how great that match is, and the fact that Edge is a champion again. And outside of WWE territory is something that we thought we would never see because we thought he was going to be a WWE Day One, but that wasn't the case. I'm still letting it render in my brain, and it's still not really clicking. So I'm speechless. You know.
You know, I do gotta ask about
What up?
Adam Copeland's run in AEW so far, because there's a lot of people that have been criticizing it, saying, oh, like he should have never left WWE, like his career is getting ruined. What's your thoughts on that?
I'll let Danny go first because he has a better perspective on both sides, but I can probably add to whatever he says.
I feel like people expected a certain thing when Adam Copeland went to AEW. You know what I mean? And like his intention was to never like go there and like immediately like change the business or anything like that. You know, he's at that age. He's done literally. There's nothing in WWE that the dude has not done. You know what I mean? So if he would have stayed in WWE, what was he gonna do? You know,
he was already a king of the
have
ring.
a match here and there. You know what I mean? He's at that stage in his career to where he just wants to have fun, man. I mean, the Hardys are in AEW, Christian's in AEW. He seems like he's having a blast. You know, he seems like
dude. The whole father thing is amazing.
Christian's doing the best work
in his career. I agree.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I have to agree with by a landslide. Yeah.
People expected, you know, oh, Adam Copeland's not a draw, you know, he's not selling out arenas or whatever. The dude's having
He's
fun,
enhancing
bro.
talent.
Exactly.
He's enhancing talent, bro.
All that matters, especially for somebody that's had a Hall of Fame career like himself. I feel like he should be able to do whatever he wants to do. And I feel like his run in AEW hasn't been that bad like other people are saying. Like now, like the Hardy Boys, oh my goodness, they fumbled that. But like
that's another story.
They've had great, but Edge and Christian, they have had great runs so far in AEW.
Like when it comes to Edge's run, Is it spectacular? No. But like you guys said, he's having fun and he's also there to make sure that the future of wrestling is in good hands. Like he's making sure that whatever knowledge he has in ring, out of the ring, backstage, what have you, he is making sure that he's putting forth his best effort to help in while he's still in the shape that he's in to go every single week. People should be thankful enough that he is still performing when this dude was talking about straight up retirement not too long ago, even while still performing. This is a blessing. Like I said, it's not what we expected. It's a little bit sporadic, more so than I'd like. But every time the dude is in the ring, he gives 150%. And I'm happy with that alone because the dude has been putting on killer matches every single time he stepped in the ring in AEW. And I'm not going to discredit that. And he still has time. So I'm going to let him cook.
The best thing I can tell people that, aren't that crazy about Adam Copeland's like running AEW thus far. He did a 2-hour long interview with Sam Roberts on Sam Roberts' YouTube channel. Watch that interview and he talks about how excited he is about his AEW run. And you bet your ass Adam Copeland is not doing anything that he does not want to do. So if
I did hear something on that because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I bet Adam Copeland didn't want to go in the ring against Lee Moriarty," and then Adam Copeland literally said, like the next day, he was like, "That's somebody that's been on my bucket list, and I wanted to wrestle," and he had a great match with him.
Yeah,
it's
and
all
like I
about
said,
elevating the future, elevating new talent. What's that gonna do to Lee Moriarty, like being in the ring with fucking Adam Copeland and actually having a somewhat of a decent match?
Bro, do you understand how speechless I was just seeing him next to fucking Kenny Omega? Like that's the dream match right there, bro.
Wait till Kenny
So,
Omega comes back, bro. You're telling me Adam Copeland and Kenny
Explosive.
Omega cannot main event a fucking pay-per-view at some point?
Explosive.
Take my money. That's what I got to say about that.
I mean,
but
now
now
Dynasty, we're getting Will Ospreay and fucking Bryan Danielson.
I can't wait for that match, honestly. I don't blame
this.
you for interrupting me on that one. Because that's how excited I am about that match. But I do want to share my highlight of the week. I have two. One of them, I got to go with the Rock concert on last Friday's episode of SmackDown. Because anytime The Rock does a concert, it is just hilarious. I absolutely love it. Plus, we got a really serious side of The Rock after that, which I think added so much more to the storyline. And it makes me want like Rock versus Cody, or even at this point, we need to get The Rock's mother versus Cody Rhodes' mother in a match. Like I'm so invested in Rock and Roman, or Rock and Cody.
They brought back
I got a good highlight.
Hollywood Rock theme song.
I got a good highlight too.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we got a cameo from fucking Maui. I love it. I love that he ended the promo singing fucking "You're Welcome." I love it. I love it so much because that's literally my favorite animated rock roll. But anyways, continue.
So my second highlight of the week has got to be the big event New York, because last weekend I got the opportunity to go out to Long Island, New York, and what an incredible event the big event is putting together. I feel like every convention I'm going to for big event is just getting better and better. But it wasn't meeting somebody that was my highlight. It's got to be the fans, because I saw a lot of We Are Wrestling Maniacs at this event, and the one that really got me, and usually I don't cry happy tears, but this one kid came up to me. I was in line. We're all waiting to get in to the Suffolk's Credit Union Arena, and this kid comes up to me and he just marks out. He's like, no, you're like, no way, your best one, Donnie. And like, for me, I was like, yeah, that's me, and he goes like, can I please get a picture with you? And of course, took a picture with him. And then I asked if he would like to get a picture with me because I wanted to put him in the vlog, and he was very excited about that. And man, just meeting so many different fans like that day really was my highlight, because these are people that, are spending hours watching our content. And if it wasn't for the Maniacs, if it wasn't for the best ones, we wouldn't be doing this right now. And I even met one person. We were in the pro photo op line for Stacy Cabler, and he drove from Baltimore, Maryland. And he's a big fan of We Are Wrestling, which I thought was really freaking cool.
Wow. Good shit.
Good stuff, man.
Hell yeah. So, with that being said, let's get into the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors for the We Are Wrestling podcast episode 100. Starting things off, Jey Uso recently appeared on the Battleground podcast and was asked about the bloodline and stated this: "We the ones, we the bloodline, whether we be separated or not. We are just that good now, and people need to step up because we're going to keep running it and we're going to keep adding more. We're deep like that. The bloodline runs deep. We're going to keep doing it. The bloodline brought the drama, brought the theatrics, whatever they call it. I feel your boy was the heart of the bloodline. They could add The Rock. They could add them all. It ain't going to be the bloodline until Jey Uso is back. That's real talk. We are family at the end of the day. Some of your worst enemies might be your enemy. But at the end of the day, we are still family. If you're out there, and I'm not going to name drop, but if y'all out there, like all our family being like here, but at the end of the day, I feel like if we all come to the big leagues, the WWE, it's mind-blowing what could happen. At least almost 10 deep in there, let alone some big hitters. Man, the future's bright. All I'm going to say is the story keeps evolving. This might go on for another 3 years. What's your thoughts on the bloodline possibly going on for another 3 years in the WWE?
That's fine because there's a shit ton of fucking talent that are all related that could easily join and further the story. It doesn't need just its core members like Roman Reigns and fucking the Usos. It could always be replaced with another member of their family because there's so fucking many. And you want to build new stars, and the bloodline is a perfect way for the Samoan family.
Yeah.
So
the Samoan dynasty is so vast. You know, there's so many different people on the independent circuits or whatever that is a part of the Anoa'i family. You know, I've heard that
Zilla
Tamatanga,
Fatu.
who's not technically like related to them, but you know, when you're part of that culture, you're pretty much all related at that point.
Same thing with
Zilla
yeah.
Fatu, Jacob Fatu, like I heard that they're probably going to be bringing them in at some point. So I mean, I wouldn't mind the bloodline continuing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like to this day, the best storyline in pro wrestling right now it revolves around the bloodline. I mean, we have The Rock back now because of the bloodline. We have Cody
I
Rhodes
would
and
agree.
Roman Reigns because of the bloodline. We have Jimmy versus Jey Uso that's going to be happening at Mania because of the bloodline. I mean, there's so many different storylines on WWE Weekly Television that wraps around the bloodline. You know what I mean? And just because the bloodline is going to continue doesn't necessarily mean it has to revolve around Roman Reigns and his title.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say here.
Spot on.
I feel like with the bloodline, the reason why some people are getting sick of it is because Roman Reigns has been champion for over 4 years. And I feel like the bloodline can continue with other members coming in. I believe there's a guy from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He just signed with WWE. He's a part of the family. What the hell is his name? It's on the tip of my
I think you're
tongue.
talking about Tamatanga, but I
Tama
don't know.
Tonga. Yeah. And like there's so many different scenarios that they can come up with. What I hope happens after WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes, he finishes the story, and there's one person that I feel like really has lost a lot of momentum, and that's Solo Sikoa. This is his second WrestleMania. He's not wrestling, and he's just been in the shadows. Like we saw at, I believe, Crown Jewel. He squashed John Cena, and they haven't done anything with him except having him lose like 23 to like 30 matches consistently. I feel like with Solo Sikoa, like they really had something special going on with him. And if Roman Reigns does lose, have him take some time off. And I want to see Solo Sikoa in like a bigger role in the bloodline because I feel like that's going to determine what happens with the rest of the family.
Well, if you noticed on one of the promos that Rock cut a couple weeks ago, whatever, talking about how, you know, if Cody and Seth lose, it's going to be bloodline rules. You know, The Rock was saying, you know, Solo Sikoa could be like the timekeeper or whatever, and you know, just a bunch of weird shit. And you saw Solo Sikoa, like he was starting to get agitated, like he was starting to get aggravated. Like, you know, I meant more, you know, I meant more to this family than what you think. Regardless if Solo Sikoa is actually going to have a match or not, he's still gonna play a very big role in WrestleMania.
Oh,
If you know what I
definitely.
mean. Whether that's him finally, like, being fed up with The Rock's bullshit and, imagine him Samoa spiking The Rock, bro, during the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, that'd be fucking huge. You know what I
That would
mean?
be huge for his
Solo
career.
Solo Sikoa is a fucking superstar, bro, regardless if he has a match or not. So I wouldn't really necessarily say that, there's anything wrong with him not having a match because he didn't have a match last year and he was very instrumental in Cody losing. And that was a major talking point at the end of WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, and it really did shock the world. You're right about that. But is there anything else you guys want to say about the Bloodline possibly going on another 3 years?
No. Yeah, covered it.
Alrighty, so moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. And speaking of the final boss of the Bloodline, there has been talks among WWE talent and outside with some frustrations about the double standard involving Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. One person noted, he does what he wants because he's on the board of directors. Nobody is going to say anything to him. He also has an entire team of representatives that he surrounds himself with. So any issues, they handle it while he stays out of the mess. One person noted that there's a feeling that the era of Vince McMahon's double standards for his handpicked stars and for everyone else was under Paul Levesque. According to Dave Meltzer, do you think the talent right now do have the right to be upset about The Rock kind of getting special treatment and they, pretty much they have to follow the rules?
Well, all I can really tell you, and this might not be the answer that you would think I would give, but I mean, he's the fucking Rock. I mean, he's the fucking Rock. I mean, if you see not only even how short his career was, it was illustrious. He had more than the it factor, and then he went out and did a bunch of other shit and made himself that high-paying fucking star, and then got on the board. So, I mean, it's not so much a double standard as much as, I mean, he kind of fucking earned it. I mean, he kind of earned it. Like, as
You
much as I
know,
don't The Rock sometimes, he kind of earned it. So
that's
it just
that's like what
go
I
out
was
and
going to
do it.
say. I do want to add something to that because
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to say. The
Yeah.
Rock is the reason why all of these superstars right now are able to live these comfortable life because The Rock, he was one of the staple points in the Attitude Era. That's when professional wrestling was at an all-time high. And a lot of it was because of The Rock and what he did during that time. And he's the reason why a lot of these pro wrestling maniacs got into this was because of how electrifying he was, how great and talented he is.
I also want to add too that a lot of people should also be thankful because The Rock is also the reason why they immediately flipped the script on the whole. Oh, they did this. They thought it was going to be Rock versus Roman. People had an uproar. Not even 2 fucking days later, the whole fucking problem was fixed, and it was because of The Rock and probably Triple H. So exactly, like because of his lack of ego, it was what we wanted went right back on tracks, and the way that they fixed it was so organic. So you got to give the dude more credit.
What's your thoughts on all this, Danny?
I will say, man, and I am in agreement, but there's nobody on this planet that can convince me that The Rock doesn't have a massive fucking ego.
No, for
This
sure.
was
And I'll
not.
give you
This
that.
was not the going plan, bro. This was not. They knew before the Royal Rumble that they wanted The Rock versus Roman Reigns to main event WrestleMania, and
because
obviously with Cody winning, and what the Royal Rumble win means you get to choose who you want to face at WrestleMania or whatever. They pretty much saw the fan backlash, and they had to backtrack, and they had to pivot a little bit. And The Rock gets certain privileges because he's earned them, though. Nobody's really handed The Rock anything. He got a
Anything.
movie role in the Scorpion King back in the day, and he just fucking kept working at it. You know what I mean? It's not like somebody just called him up. You want a movie career today? You know, that's
Yeah,
just not the way the world works.
He's
he
more than earned his
realized
stripes.
he realized that the foundation that he built in WWE, he realized that he had a talent and a gift, brought it somewhere else, realized he was good at it, and then capitalized it. And then when he came back, he brought what he learned back and elevated the business even more. So yeah, he deserves whatever the fuck he's earned, bro. And it's a lot.
And that's the thing too. Like, I feel like talent, don't get me wrong, I feel like we need to get out of the PG stuff because I do like how Seth Rollins is swearing,
That's why
The
Monday Night
Rock is
Raw is going
swearing,
to Netflix.
and even Cody Rhodes as well. I love that we're getting more edgier sides of them, and I can see why the talent would be frustrated because a lot of the times, they're not allowed to cut promos on social media and stuff without permission. But at the same time, they have to understand that The Rock, Cody, Seth, Roman, they've earned their stripes, and they're pretty much the reason that people are tuning in to WrestleMania 40, realistically.
You got 4 greats and a huge
Exactly.
program at the biggest stage of them all for the biggest WrestleMania we've ever had. This is literally money.
And like I've been saying for over a year,
and all the
man,
eyes that are going to be on the product, too.
like I've been saying for over a year, like you can tell a Vince McMahon booked WWE as opposed to a Triple H booked WWE. If Vince was still in charge, bro, we would not be getting what we're getting right now on TV. He would not.
Rock and Roman suck a dick. That would be Vince McMahon.
Pretty much.
But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. WWE is opening up the forbidden door. During WrestleMania weekend, Shayna Baszler will be competing in GCW's Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. What's your thoughts on this decision by WWE?
I think it's fabulous that they're actually doing this. And it's weird, like when I kind of figured they were gonna do something like this over WrestleMania, but it just GCW just seems like a weird, obscure place to do it. You know what I mean?
I think they're getting ready to kind of open the door for those more brutal matches again for WWE, and this is a great way to test it. And Shayna Baszler, out of anybody to go to GCW, man, you got money there, bro. She will bring eyes to GCW. So, man, I couldn't be happy. I couldn't be happy.
I heard there's other WWE names that are going to be involved too. I don't know if anybody's been announced other than
I don't think
Shayna
anybody's
Baszler or
been
whatever.
confirmed except for her.
Yeah.
As of
But
right now.
You know, one thing about Triple H is he's a fan. You know, before he was a wrestler, he was a fan of wrestling. You know what I mean? So he knows what he has to do to evolve the business and make the business better. You know what I mean? And there might be a bunch of talent from GCW that get WWE tryouts at some point. You know what I mean? It's all about building those relationships with people.
It's a win-win.
Nick Gage showing up in WWE with a pizza cutter. Imagine that.
Oh
Yeah,
my god!
I mean, maybe on Netflix.
GCW is live and well.
Maybe on Netflix. Hey, we're getting Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Right now,
anything's
the
possible.
moment we hit Netflix, expect a lot more swearing the moment we get on Netflix, where we might end up in Attitude Era 2.0 because Netflix, anything goes. I'm just
anything goes.
I'll be doing a watch along to Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, man. It's gonna be. I've never done
Dude,
a
I'm
watch
watching
along
that
to anything
fight.
outside of WWE or whatever. So
When's the fight?
It's gonna be amazing. It's
Sometime
like
in July,
Saturday,
right?
July 20th on Netflix.
Yo, we all trying to watch it together.
I'm down, bro. I'm down.
I'd be down to do that.
I'll watch a fight. I'll watch. The
Hell
fight.
yeah!
I want to see Tyson knock his ass out.
I'm down.
So
bro.
I do want to share my thoughts on this Forbidden Door move. I think this is fucking brilliant because obviously with WrestleMania, there's only a certain amount of matches that can happen on night 1 and night 2. And Triple H has brought back a lot of people. So there's a lot of people on the roster that aren't going to be used for WrestleMania. So why not get some exposure where other stuff's going to be happening throughout the week, like GCW, and have somebody like Shayna Baszler, who's not being used really good in WWE, go over there and show them what WWE is all about. This is great fucking marketing on WWE's behalf.
Exactly.
And think about it. Wait, and also think about it from a morale standpoint, because there's a lot of talent that, are probably upset that they're not going to be able to wrestle at WrestleMania. So then Triple H and the creative could tell them, well, we can have you do something for GCW, or, oh, we can have you do something for this or that during Mania week, where a lot of eyes are on these other companies. This
The
is
reason
great.
why the reason why a lot of pro wrestlers choose to go to AEW instead of WWE is for the simple fact that Tony Khan affords them something that WWE doesn't. If they want to work this indie show in fucking Nebraska, they can. If they want to go to New Japan, they can. If they want to go to CMLL, they can.
Well, they
what I
do have
mean?
to get approved by AEW first before doing those.
Yeah, but AEW has relationships with all these people. So it's not a very hard thing to get approved, I would imagine. And that's one thing, like Bryan Danielson, the reason why he likes being in AEW and the reason why he left WWE is because he wanted to wrestle in New Japan. He wanted to have a match at the Tokyo Dome, and Vince McMahon told him no. So that's why he decided to leave and go to AEW. And he's been able to do all these other things or whatever outside of just that main organization. Everybody should be, it doesn't matter what company you work for, bro. Everybody should be involved and everybody should enjoy WrestleMania weekend, whether that's working for WWE, working for, GCW or another independent promotion or whatever. Because it seems like every pro wrestling company on this planet, wherever WrestleMania is, they migrate to that fucking city.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it's almost like a holiday for a lot of people. People should be able to enjoy it and get involved in some way, shape, or form.
All right, Ben, how excited are you about this?
I'm pretty hyped. Like I said, like you'd mentioned that, Shayna gets to go down there and show them what WWE is all about. But then again, you also have to remember this is going to give Shayna a lot of not only creative control, but a lot of breathing room. And she's actually going to be able to hit people again if she wants to. So depending on, where this is going to go, what kind of match we're at, we're gonna see a different kind of Shayna, bro. So this is kind of her showing what she can really do, and this could be another thing where they're kind of dabbling to see where they want to put Shayna next. Because depending on how this goes, we might be seeing her get a fucking push.
That is also another thing a lot of people have to consider, because the ball's going to be in her court to show what she can do. And if WWE is impressed with her performance in GCW, we really might be getting the NXT Shayna Baszler, but better moving forward.
I still think it was a huge, giant fumble and a missed opportunity not to have a fight pin match between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. That was
missed
such
opportunity.
a fucking fumble, bro.
I agree. But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. It was announced earlier this week that a Bray Wyatt documentary will be coming out to Peacock on April 1st. What's your thoughts on this awesome news?
Bro, I am so fucking excited. Like, listen, the last documentary we got other than Angle was the Cody Rhodes documentary, and that shit was fucking fire. This is about one of the most illustrious, most creative, and just overall just mind-bending individuals that we've ever had the pleasure of gracing our screens and touching our lives, man. And again, may he rest in peace. That dude was literally the next Undertaker, and nobody could have denied that shit. And the fact that Undertaker is narrating it is just so much more fitting. And to see some behind the scenes on how some of these characters that we see were created and their inspirations and what drove them, and what was kind of going through his mind through all those times. I'm really excited to kind of dive into the personals and maybe even get emotional. I'm really excited to see more footage that we've never seen and seeing a more personal side of Bray and getting to really know the person who he was rather than just the wrestler and the icon that we know now.
Bro, like
Well
I still remember like where I was and what I was doing when I got the news. I was sitting here at my computer. I was video editing, and for whatever reason, that something told me to check Twitter, and so I went on there, and Triple H made that post, and I immediately called you guys, and that was just it.
That was
It still does not feel like
it hasn't registered.
it doesn't feel like it's real. You know what I mean? Like I'm still expecting him to make a return at some point, just for the fact that we're not gonna be getting it. Fucking,
Yeah, I
it still
cried.
kills me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, and I've said that before. I will say it. I will say it again. It's weird the fact, like, the connection that you can have with somebody that you don't personally know. It's almost like we lost a friend, or we lost
Oh
somebody
yeah,
that we
man.
used to watch weekly on television. You know what I mean? And this documentary, bro, it's gonna fucking tear me to pieces. I don't know about you guys. It's gonna fucking destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
I almost
I'm
want to do
definitely
a
not
watch
ready for
along
that
to it.
extra.
I almost want to do a watch along to it and just watch it and kind of just let it kind of sink in, even if
Part
we
of
don't
me,
show the footage.
part of me does feel like
Yeah.
we should watch it together, man, because I don't know
I
how
think we do. I
how
think we
3 of us
gotta
are gonna
100%.
I don't know
Because
how
what
the
we
3
could
of us are gonna
do
Definitely.
cope.
is
Because that's
because
one thing,
what
like, with the podcast, can I just say, like, one thing with the
yeah,
podcast is there's a lot of things that we agree, but we also disagree on a lot of things. But one thing that we agree on is our love for Bray Wyatt. We have always
oh,
been big fans of his
Bro,
work.
we marked the fuck out when he returned at Extreme Rules, bro. Oh my
I know. I
I
god.
didn't
got called
believe
the
it,
biggest
man.
jackass on the
I didn't
planet.
believe
I'm
it.
still feeling it.
Yeah.
I haven't recovered since.
And I just want to say, too, at the big event in New York, I got the opportunity to talk to JoJo, who is with Bray
Yeah.
Wyatt. And man, such a sweetheart. I sent my love, sent my condolences to her children, her family. And I even told her the story of when I met Bray Wyatt back in 2017. And she
Yeah.
was super cool. Very nice individual.
That is
Love that,
awesome,
man.
man.
Yeah, but man, I gotta say, with Bray Wyatt's documentary, I'm very excited to see this because he is one of the most creative individuals in the world, not only in the pro wrestling world, but I'm very excited to learn a lot more about his career because I've been following him going all the way back to FCW when him and Bo Dallas were the tag team champions, him as Husky Harris in NXT, and this character that's just been larger than life. And I love that, we're getting this documentary. I know it's going to hit us in the feels, and we definitely got to do an extra and review this documentary for you guys. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's legitimately gonna, because they talk about fucking everything, bro. And like
I'm probably gonna
I know
cry.
I know they're probably going to, but I really hope they focus more on his career out, like, in pro wrestling than, like, what happened to him in his passing and stuff like that. 'Cause there's just certain
It'll get
things
touched at
that,
the end.
there's
Yeah.
just,
I think they're going to be covering his entire life, which I'm very excited to see. And our last We Are Wrestling Weekly news and rumors for this week. Last week, apparently, Booker T and CM Punk almost went at it during the NXT tapings. On Booker T's podcast, he was asked about seeing CM Punk at NXT and said, "We'll talk about that off the air, but I almost had a little run-in with CM Punk. The internet might want to pick that up. Me and CM Punk almost got into it at NXT this week." What's your thoughts on this news, knowing that CM Punk, he went at it with a lot of people in AEW, and this is the first time under WWE that he's butting heads with somebody?
See, well, I just want to put it out there. The kind of almost like it almost feels hypocritical to announce on your podcast that you'll talk about it off air and that the internet wants to pick it up, and then you'll just say CM Punk and I got it into it at NXT, but then just not opening up about it just means you kind of want the attention and the clickbait. So
Yep.
it's like you kind of want that. So I'm starting to think that it's more so you starting to do this and it's not CM Punk. I'm starting to think that
Dude,
you're the
this is
issue,
what
not
I've been
CM
saying
Punk.
all along, Ben. When I talk about the media, they love to twist things on certain people, and this is exactly what's happening yet
You
again.
have to listen to
Booker
the
knows what
way
he's doing.
you have to know, you have to learn how to listen to the way the source says something. The moment they say, "I don't want to talk about it on live," but then announce it somewhere on your own podcast, clearly you do, and you just want to see how interested and what kind of rise you get out of people, which kind of makes me feel like because CM Punk didn't say anything and you are, that you were the aggressor in the situation. So I'm starting to get those vibes. So you really have to just listen,
All right, Danny, your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm not gonna, hit you in the feels, Phil. For this. I'm still upset that you blocked me on Instagram. But that's beside the fucking point.
wait. Let everybody know what happened to you on Instagram.
I forgot.
For those who don't know,
I don't even know. I'm
CM Punk blocked him on Instagram, guys.
I'm a fan of CM Punk, bro. And
Toxicity.
You know how I post my stream clips or whatever on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to tag the performer, whoever's in like my video. And apparently he saw that I tagged him and he didn't like what I had to say.
Did you make fun of his dog, Larry?
No, I legitimately didn't.
Did you say anything negative about CM Punk in anything you tagged him in? I'm curious now.
I'm curious too.
I have to go back and look. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Did you make fun of his dog, Larry?
No. I might have said I didn't like his promo or his promo didn't hit, but I mean, that was like one of the first promos, when he came back. So
Danny dropped the pike bomb. Oh man!
But
God, I forgot.
I do gotta go. But before I do, I wouldn't look too much into this. I think it's a work. Booker T said, we'll talk about it off air, and then he just goes and mentions it anyway. I do feel like he's trying to gauge the fan, the fans' attention or whatever about maybe they possibly talked about working a program. And apparently Sean Ross Sapp have reached out to a bunch of NXT talent, and apparently nobody was around when this whole altercation took place. And I mean, that's kind of weird. The Performance Center doesn't seem like it's that big, and there seems like there's a lot of people that work there.
Yeah.
So I mean, Booker T, that's just where I'm coming from. We'll talk about it off air, but let me tell you, I almost got into an altercation with CM Punk. It almost seems like he's gauging the fans' attention or whatever about possibly working a program with him at some point. So that's why I'm getting at.
Hell yeah, man! I'm telling you.
Hell yeah! But Danny, before you go, is there anything else you want to say to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs?
No, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a trip. It's been a couple of months since I've been here. I appreciate it. And just keep killing it, man. Keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm gonna do. And the grind is not gonna fucking stop, man. I'll tell you that much.
Yes,
so make sure you guys subscribe to my
Absolutely,
channel
man.
and all that fun stuff. I'm sure links will be in the description.
Yep, the link will be down in the description below. Absolutely.
And
but Danny,
see you guys
I
next
gotta
time,
say, man, we appreciate having you here for We Are Wrestling 100 because we wouldn't have gotten to 100 without you. You are a huge part of this podcast, and I love the fact that you are growing on your channel, doing the reactions, doing the live watch along still, and man, nothing but love. Because without you, there wouldn't be We Are Wrestling. And I mean that.
Absolutely, man. Keep killing it. And, I wish you guys nothing but success, man. Just keep grinding.
Same here, man. The
There you go,
grind is
Thank you
real.
so much. Peace out,
All right,
brother.
man. Peace.
Alrighty, man. Take it easy.
Peace. Oh, I almost got emotional there, letting my boy go.
I know, right?
Oh, that actually.
And we
kinda
gotta
hurt
move
a little
ourselves.
bit.
There we go.
Man, that was nice. I really enjoyed having him back. That was really, really nice. I enjoyed it.
Me too. And now I will get my point across now that Danny's not here. Feels like old times.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I would
man.
always go to say like what I want to say, and then Danny will be like, but this, and then I'm like, fuck, I can't get my point across. But it's all love to Danny. Seriously, so happy to have him a part of 100, even though he couldn't be here for the full episode. But hey, we still got Danny for a pretty good amount of time. This won't be the last you see him. We're definitely gonna be doing more collaborations with him moving forward. But now I do want to share my thoughts on the Booker T and CM Punk drama. Yeah, Booker T, he's just looking for clicks and trying to get people to hate CM Punk because he probably has some type of personal vendetta with him over some bullshit that probably happened in the past. And if CM Punk is not giving any attention to this, then who's the aggressor? And I think that's the best way to end that topic. But up next, we have the comment of the week, and Ben and I, we are going to be going back down memory lane and talking about some of our favorite moments throughout the We Are Wrestling podcast. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast episode 100.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Huckins, and the Load Rager Ben are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back, and every week here on the We Are Wrestling Podcast, we do this thing called the Comment of the Week, and everybody loves that Ben is picking the comments over me, so he's taking over the job. So Ben, you're the host with the most for this segment, so let's get it.
What's going on, guys? So for this week's Comment of the Week, we have a great winner for the comment, and he or she has a lovely username on YouTube. And this comment is from Donnie's reaction to Cody Rhodes' promo this past Monday night on Raw, referring to Cody replying to The Rock. And this comment is from @ass640. You heard me right, ass640.
Hopefully this comment's not ass.
No, this comment is actually the exact opposite of ass. Well, I mean, it could be ass if, like, you put ass on a high pedestal like I do. But yeah, so anyways, ass says, speaking of Edge versus Christian, best I Quit match since Rock versus Foley. Wrestling is awesome right now. RIP PG era in WWE. You will not be missed. Raw is War coming to Netflix. Great comment.
Well, finally, you picked a good comment that didn't get my blood pressure up for 100. I think you're giving me a break this week, so I appreciate that.
I am. It's nothing but love this week.
Nothing but love. But man, dude, I have to agree with ass here. This was definitely this is definitely a really good I Quit match, and I highly recommend everybody to go check it out. I'm sure if you guys haven't checked out my reaction, it is up on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. And man, what a brutal match it was.
My God.
And dude, AEW, I feel like a lot of people AEW's getting better now. They're getting better. And I think a lot of people need to reconsider, because this is not the same product that was happening at the end of 2023. There's a lot of big moves they're making, and the show is actually starting to make sense. Some of the matches are starting to actually make sense. And Christian Cage and Adam, obviously, they're veterans, they're pros in this business, and man, what a great I Quit match. But dude, my favorite I Quit match of all time has got to be the JBL versus John Cena Judgment Day. That's my all-time favorite.
That's one of the best, honestly. I actually really enjoyed Chavo's and Ray's back in 2007, but
when Chavo was torturing Ray's freaking knee.
It was like the end of 2006 going into 2007 when he returned at SummerSlam the same night as Triple H. Yeah, that match that led to that was fucking insane. So that was another one of my favorite I Quit matches as well.
Yeah, man.
All right, so
that comment was not ass.
It was not ass, but
so good job.
Thank you, Ass640, for your comment, winner of Comment of the Week. And guys, you know the deal. If you guys want to get your comment featured on our segment here, Comment of the Week, just leave us a comment on any of our social media videos or YouTube, and be sure to make it fire, and you will be thrown right onto the channel. Thank you, Ass.
Thank
God
you,
for Ass.
So, with that being said, let's go back into time, because we are 100 episodes in for the We Are Wrestling podcast, and it all started off as the We Are Wrestling talk show, and your very first episode, Ben, was episode 3, because during the time, originally the We Are Wrestling talk show, it was up, but a lot of things happened, and originally they're all cut. So then I was looking for a co-host, and I got lucky the very first time. Danny was my very first co-host. He wanted to do the show with me, and we never looked back ever since. And then Ben, you joined us episode 3, and we're 100 episodes in now. How does it feel?
Episode 3. Episode 3. Wow. God, I've been a part of this for 97 episodes. This is nuts. We've been doing a lot, man. You know, we've met so many cool people through doing this. You know, we've had so many cool opportunities. You know, we've talked to some of our heroes, you know, growing up, and we're continuing to do so, you know, at the Classic. And it just, it's such a privilege to be able to do something like this and kind of elevate fandom for the whole wrestling industry, and you know, for something that we love and we get to talk about it, and it's so fucking cool, man. And it's been a privilege to be a part of it for the past 97 episodes, but to be here on episode 100, and you know, the grind is real, man.
Yes, sir. And I feel like everybody in that thank you video, that's what they had to end it off with, because the grind is certainly real. And I got to say, man, I love what We Are Wrestling has become, because at first when I created this, it was just a side project. I was still doing DITB1 at the time, competing as the privileged one, Don Styles, and just doing videos like I was doing for the last like 12 years. And finally, something went off. And I love that We Are Wrestling. We're not only just a podcast, we do so much awesome content, whether it's prediction videos for all the PLEs and pay-per-views coming up, or the live watch-alongs where we get to interact with the We Are Wrestling Maniacs. And they always are regulars, always coming back in and watching the shows with us. The vlogs, which, man, big event New York vlog. Highly recommend you guys to go check that out if you haven't.
It's sick.
And dude, just overall, like, we even have sponsored matches from Blitzkrieg Pro that we even upload here as well. Just
It's
overall,
incredible.
like, we give the Maniacs everything pro wrestling. And I think that's what I love about this the most.
It's been so fucking rewarding personally to, you know, be able to do this, because it gives me something to look forward to every week, you know, because I can't fucking talk about pro wrestling to anybody else but you guys. So it's like, you know, it's like one of those things where I am really one of the only common denominators in like any kind of group of friends that genuinely love pro wrestling. And shockingly, there's only one other person outside of like the We Are Wrestling demographic and everybody that we know personally that genuinely enjoys wrestling too. So it's like I got that one other person, but he definitely doesn't share the same views as we do. I could actually give you one of his takes right now if you want about Cody.
I want to hear this take right now.
You
Might
wanna
as
hear it?
well.
So this is from my buddy Grant. He is also a fellow AEW and WWE watcher. He messages me every time we're fucking live on We Are Wrestling, and he's always watching the pay-per-views when we are. So he always hits me up on how I feel about a match directly after. So I gotta respect it. So shout out to Grant.
Shout out to you, Grant.
So Grant said, because my buddy Nico, he's like a casual viewer. He used to watch like a little bit like earlier on, but like he still kind of catches up here and there, like through highlights, and like he'll watch a show here and there. He said that my buddy Nico said, I like that Cody's getting a push. And then I was like, he's been getting pushed the last 2 years, but it's finally happening at Mania.
Since he joined WWE.
Yeah. And then, which I love, the gas never stopped for Cody. But Grant said in reply, I don't see Cody winning at Mania. I see him winning at SummerSlam, making a new story about finally getting a WrestleMania win. I see Seth screwing over Cody, or Cody winning and getting cashed in on by Damian Priest or CM Punk, to be honest. He could set up a rivalry with Rhodes.
The first thing I'm going to say is, Grant, come
Why?
on. Why are you talking about Damian Priest first off? Because at this point, I don't even think this boy's cashing in his Money in the Bank. And if he's going to cash in that Money in the Bank, he's probably just going to grab that 24/7 championship out of the trash can that Nikki Ash couldn't fucking shoot it in there. So, yeah. Man, I don't know. Damian Priest, like, why are we even talking about this dude? He is not cashing in nothing. He's in a ladder match that nobody wants because we want these tag team championships to be fucking split.
What would be the craziest part if Damian Priest cashes in after losing the tag team titles?
Yeah,
That
if
would
he
be
try,
shit.
all I know is I hope that he tries on Gunter and Gunter fucking chops the shit out of him, sends him back to the freaking
hilarious.
clubhouse.
Back to the Archer of Infamy.
I don't know.
We're
I'm
gonna restart this
I'm
whole
over
thing.
Damian Priest at this point. Like he's
They
lost
should
so
have
much
struck it while it
momentum.
hot. Should have struck it while it was hot.
And I'm just gonna say, dude, with the Judgment Day, there's one thing that's been on my mind that I just haven't been able to say, and I'm just gonna say it because it's We Are Wrestling 100. I want Finn Balor back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm
Bro.
tired of his run in WWE.
I just realized he could cash in on Drew at Mania because it would further a story. Drew's the only one that has stopped every single one of his cash-ins. So the one time that Drew's celebrating a moment, that's the perfect time to cash on him in on him because he can't stop it at that point. And
Drew, this better be a failed cash in because I want Drew as the World Heavyweight Champion.
No, I do too, but I think Damian will be at that transitional champion for Drew. So I could see that happening at that point, but only if it's in the World Heavyweight title picture. I don't see it happening for Universal.
Yeah, definitely not Universal. Not happening.
But it could
and if
happen
that does
with
happen,
Drew.
that would be shocking.
Drew's the only one that has stopped every single cash-in consecutively, minus Orton with fucking Rhea Ripley. But it was Drew every single other time.
That is true, man. That is true.
So,
but now let's get back into We Are Wrestling podcast because we've had over 100 episodes. And I got to ask you, Ben, what was one of your favorite moments on the We Are Wrestling podcast?
Oh, dude, that's fucking easy. I think it happens to be quite a few people's favorite moments is the night I almost got arrested. That's easy. Because that was one of the greatest moments of my life as a wrestling fan, dude. I have never had my fandom shine so hard that it was almost illegal. Like, I've never had that moment where I've marked out so hard that somebody upstairs literally was concerned for someone's life. Like, that is, and they thought I was a girl. They thought I was a girl, my dude. So I don't have the girliest voice on the planet, but to get that impression, I must have been fucking screaming, dog.
Dude, we lost it during that. I highly recommend checking out our reaction to that.
And I was
that's
like,
great.
it wasn't even just like the act of it happening that was so exciting. It was the thrill of being absolutely fucking shit-faced out of my mind, mind blown that Edge is in AEW and it actually happened. The fact that I handled the cop situation so well, and the fact
picture,
that
the picture with the ice cream.
That was yep, I was getting there. So the picture of the ice cream, and then also Ash's reaction to finding out the cops were at the door. It was just and the way I handled it, like it was just a perfect situation all around, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life, knowing that I could just share that with you guys in a following episode. So I gotta say, dude, it's been a ride. I think also our group reaction to Roman Reigns pinning Cody at Mania and how silent the room got.
That night to a Mania, dude, when we lost our shit over that.
And it's like we didn't even lose our shit. You could just see how fucking defeated every single person in the room was. And just seeing just the happiness just get drained out of our bodies and our excitement just get crushed, bro. I've never seen anything like it. Like we had like our energy was up here, and by like a second after that 3 count, it was all the fuck the way down here, and you could see just like we genuinely contemplated, like, are we even wrestling fans anymore? Like, do we want to keep doing this? like
yeah, it seemed like you were over it. I think you were the most pissed out of everybody.
Because I think I was the most silent because I have one of the loudest personalities of anybody I know, and I was just done. Like I was just so done, and I think at that moment was one of like the only documented moments that I genuinely almost contemplated giving up being a wrestling fan.
Yeah, dude. My favorite watch along moment, since you did just mention yours, mine has got to be WrestleMania when Gunther retained the Intercontinental Championship because Danny, Cam, everybody wanted either Sheamus or Drew McIntyre. I was the only fucking person in that room rooting for Gunter. And when he won, seeing Danny's freaking puss face was the funniest thing I've ever witnessed in We Are Wrestling history. Because Danny was so determined that Sheamus was going to win that championship.
I was so determined Drew was finally going to get a fucking break. So you had Danny's fucking puss face, you had my belligerency, and then you were just thriving off all the negative energy, and just it was almost poetic for you. Like it was just you were absorbing all of it, and you were just basking in its glory. You were just like, yes, give it to me.
And then I did the Gunter thing. I think on top of the couch. I think I standed on top of the couch. Yep.
Yeah, you just got up on the couch.
I put my hands behind my back. That was my highlight for watch-alongs. Definitely.
You honestly earned that, because me and Dan were fucking fuming, bro. Like,
you guys were flaming me for weeks on the podcast saying Sheamus, like Danny was so like, for you, you're like Drew McIntyre's gonna win, but Danny was like, Sheamus, man, Sheamus is gonna win it, dude. Sheamus is gonna be a Grand Slam champion. Sheamus. I'm like, shut the fuck up about Sheamus. Nobody gives a fuck about him. The last time I gave a fuck about Sheamus was 2010 when he debuted and won the WWE Championship.
It's unfortunate because, like, man, I like Sheamus. It's just
I like him too.
You got to get a better gimmick. You know, it's like it runs dry after a while.
Oh, dude, when he had that fucking rooster fucking mohawk, oh my goodness,
dude, when he came back with the OG haircut and shit, like it was on fire. Like he was hot again. But it's like the momentum and like
quick.
He did, because he wasn't put in the right programs, and I feel like had he been like for like the Intercontinental US title, depending mid card to start, it would have ignited something, but they didn't strike it while it's hot. And
just saying, if they were going to have him, if they were going to give him that momentum, should have had him beat Gunter at Clash at the Castle.
It's another one of those shoulda, coulda, woulda situations, bro. And that was
Gunter being champion, I think, was the right call.
It was, man. It was. Ultimately, you know, I can respect it now, but back then, man, yeah, you're right. That was a moment for you. That was a moment for you.
So, all right. So, one of my favorite We Are Wrestling podcast moments has got to be all the times that Danny was at his high, because whenever he would prove me wrong, because obviously there's times where Danny was taking a lot of L's, like during maybe like the first 25 episodes, Danny was taking massive L's. And then all of a sudden, for like a couple months, Danny just had this streak going on where everything he was predicting, where you and I were like, dude, you are fucking delusional. He was right. And then I would say something, and then Danny would just give it to me. And when I would go to talk, and Danny would be like, shut the fuck up, sit down. And then that's when you start marking out like, yes. And I'm like, dude, that's gonna be my favorite moments, was when Danny humbled me, honestly.
God, that was, I could probably name a million favorite special guest ref moments where I was the in-between between you and Danny's fucking debaucheries. Dude, it was
so many
awesome.
times you were a special referee for us.
It was fucking awesome, dude. Like some of my favorite moments is honestly probably and like this isn't by any means like a roast, but it was always like whenever for example, one of my favorite moments of all time, Dan's like spiel on 3-minute warning. One of my favorite moments of all time, because that was like one of the longest belly laughs I think we all consecutive had. Like I think we were laughing for a good almost 10 minutes straight, just because it was so out of pocket.
Yeah, because it was funny with 3-minute warning for like the whole time. Danny just wouldn't stop talking about them. He would always use them as examples. So then it got to the point where I had enough and I just went in on him. Ben lost it. I lost it. But I remember the time too when back in the old days, Ben, here's one of my favorite moments. All right. So guys, we would be doing the podcast. We'd be recording it with Danny. And whenever he would give like a really shitty take, and like we would tell Danny, like, okay, Danny, you need to calm down a little bit. And he just keeps going and going. And I always would kick him out of the freaking episode taping. And he hated it. He got so mad because what we would do is either Ben or myself, I think we alternated this for a little while. We would basically boot Danny out of the episode so that he would have to go back to Facebook, click on the link to get back into the stream, into the episodes. Oh my goodness, those were funny. Absolutely.
And circling back to the whole 3-minute warning thing, what made it funnier, and it was like the climax of the whole fucking thing, which just made the joke that much funnier, is like the 3-minute warning thing just became like an inside joke on the channel. And he hit us one day with the greatest plot twist. He had the fucking nerve to drag this shit out for months and then hit us with, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not even a fan. He put greatness on their name and then hit us with, yeah, I'm not even a fan. Biggest plot twist in fucking We Are Wrestling history.
Seriously, dude, that was definitely the biggest plot twist. But another thing I really did like about the We Are Wrestling podcast was some of the early episodes, because it got to a point we were doing wrestling news only, and this was around Vince McMahon era where there was really just nothing great to talk about. So what we would do is we did episodes based off of topics like the best wrestling video games and Randy Orton, John Cena celebrating 20 years, the best like American versus un-American gimmicks, and the Hardcore Championship. I loved all of those episodes that we did.
We gotta bring
those were so much fun.
We're gonna have to take those off for a spin soon, bro.
We're definitely going to have to do something, man, because I do miss those nostalgia episodes so much. But at the same time, I love the way that we do have the format right now with the podcast.
Oh, dude, for sure.
But we always do have extras, too. We can always do extras on stuff like that. I think that would be really cool for We Are Wrestling.
We gotta also start putting out some like this weekend. We should film some We Are Wrestling stuff, like fucking. Maybe after the classic, or not after the classic, maybe before Blitzkrieg tomorrow, we can do like a skit where we're, first 2 seconds or 3 seconds of someone's entrance music, and boom, we have to fucking figure out who it is. First one gets a point.
Definitely, man. We could definitely come up with something for sure. I definitely love to do that. Also, too, I remember back in the day, because in We Are Wrestling, throughout these 100 episodes, one thing that I gotta say, like, we really did a good job with was segments. I really like the way that we did that, because at times I remember Shoot the Shit. We did Shoot the Shit episodes. I remember you and myself for episode 27. We went live. I had to defend AEW. You had to defend WWE. And we had like a debate going back and forth. That was
fun. We gotta do that one of these days, dude. Let's go fucking live one of these days and do a Shoot the Shit and just have
Shoot the Shits were so much fun.
Let's do it.
And then in the beginning episodes, quick takes, we did those for a little bit, but then I remember you, myself, and Danny, we just kept going in on the quick takes. So then quick takes was supposed to be like a 5-minute thing, but then it would just end up like going over like 20 minutes because we had a lot to say.
Dude, we're wrestling fans, man. We're wrestling fans. We can't just say one thing without backing up the entire history of a wrestler and their feud.
And then, of course, Ricky Knows Best. I love what we've done with Ricky Knows Best here on the podcast.
Oh my God, dude. Ricky Knows Best is like one of my favorite things like ever. I'm honestly so glad that like we're starting to pull in other people for certain things. Like we're almost becoming like a newscasting station. Like there, you got one for sports, you got one for music, you got one for entertainment, you got one for fucking breaking news. Like we're getting all of these pieces and I love it. And then you got the main newscasters, us.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I'm the host with the most.
And I'm America's favorite uncle.
Dude, but like the Ricky Knows Best segments, because even having him on the podcast a couple weeks ago was so freaking awesome to see. Because as soon as our buddy Gabby, who he's a part of the live watch-alongs a lot of the times, he was one of my favorite cast members that I got to work with over on DITB1. He introduced us to somebody that he was working with, that he became buddies with, and that was Ricky. He showed up, I think it was WrestleMania Night 2. And the funniest thing about that is we didn't know like what Ricky looked like. We did not know who Ricky was. And he showed up night 2 of WrestleMania, which that's crazy. So like with our friendship with Ricky, technically the We Are Wrestling podcast, the We Are Wrestling brought Ricky to us. And it really grew like such a great friendship with him throughout the time. And now he has his own segment and he's really trying to dip his toes into the podcasting world. And I love that we're able to give him that opportunity.
Hell yeah, man. Like, and that's like the thing, man. And that comes to the camaraderie of like recruiting people, not necessarily for like, podcast roles, but just like different segments, different kinds of content. Like there's something great about, upping your arsenal with different kinds of people that can do versatile things that really do add to the product. And we're so fortunate and really blessed to know such creative and just fun people to be around that just have, a knack for things that they didn't know they had. And it's great to bring out the best in people. And I feel like that this podcast is a very, chill, family friendly, and just smooth vibe that we're just wrestling fans, just like everybody else. And we're not just super corporate, and that's something I've never wanted to lose with this podcast was the family feel.
Oh, definitely. That's one thing as a content creator that going into this project, We Are Wrestling behind the scenes. That's the one thing I didn't want to lose because with DITB1, Best One Network, doing that channel for over 13 years, that was the big thing that I preached was I wanted family vibes. I wanted to do this not only because I love making content, but to bring us all closer. That's always been the goal. And even with We Are Wrestling, I felt like it really brought you and I closer. It brought Danny as well. I think all three.
Absolutely.
It brought all three of us closer. And just, I love the team that we have right now. I get to do the We Are Wrestling podcast with you, 100 episodes strong. I love that we get Ricky Knows Best. He gets to give us some knowledge on New Japan and other wrestling promotions that we're not paying attention to because there's already so many wrestling out there. But Ricky just, man, I thought I was an encyclopedia. I'm a fucking dictionary. He's the encyclopedia. And then I love that I get to do old school versus new school with Phil. Even though, oh my goodness, sometimes when he talks, man, he's so old that he wants to puts me to sleep. But gotta love Phil. I love that he's a part of this now because he's also been a fan of this sport for so long. And he's got a lot of knowledge, and he's just such a bright personality, just like you. And I feel like
Innovative.
you guys really bring that energy that's just needed. And then, of course, Cam, which, Cam, you would be on the podcast and videos more if you had better quality on your phone, but you don't. So, Cam, we got to get, like, we need to help you get some equipment, and we need to get you
Mr.
on
Duncan.
here more.
Yeah, Mr. Duncan. The fuck
Mr.
you doing,
Duncan.
Mr. Duncan?
And
But no,
he did say in that thank you video too that he was one of the OGs, and I could back that up because before the We Are Wrestling podcast, Cam, he helped me out a lot before, like during like the beginning that isn't up right now on our channel. He did a lot of work.
Yeah. I think for We Are Wrestling 100, we should have some like quick snippets of like, those videos, those older videos with everything that we've talked about if we can, if it's possible, like just to, God, man, I'm going to go through some of the old episodes and rewatch them just to get that nostalgia feel. But I was actually going to mention that too, I think we're so lucky to have gone through so many people, on the podcast and, a part of We Are Wrestling because each one of them brought something so huge that has shaped the evolution and the final product of what we have now and the kind of format that we have now. And it really helped in the early stages and it helped blossom into what it is and what it's going to become further down the line as, we start to advance more. And we are so fortunate, and I myself am very fortunate, to be able to do this regularly and to be a part of something like this and have a place to dump my everlasting love of professional wrestling in.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you talk about evolution. This started off as the We Are Wrestling podcast, which right now on my other screen, I'm going through the playlist right now, and episode 46 was our 1 year anniversary special. And that's when we changed from the We Are Wrestling talk show to the We Are Wrestling podcast. And I
Yeah.
do got to give credit where it's due to Danny Huckins on that idea, because it didn't make sense at the time doing it as a talk show, because talk shows, that's like so 90s, 80s, 2000s. But now going into obviously the 2020s, podcasting is the new talk show. It's just the cool saying of it, you know? So,
Man,
Danny, I got to give him credit for that.
you know, I'm gonna end my portion on this specific part of the podcast by giving Danny his flowers real quick, because without Danny and you know, instrumentally, Danny has I give that dude so much credit with how everything's turned out, because Danny, for a lot of people that don't know, is the sole reason why I became a content creator. Danny knew that I had what it took to do it. He knew I had the personality, the it factor, if you will, when it comes to content creating. And he knew that I would be great in it. You know, I eventually, you know, first appeared on camera with Danny ever. You know, that was the first time, like when it came to YouTube, in this kind of format, not necessarily an acting format, but more of a sit down talk kind of, you know, podcasty thing. And you know, it happened to be that we were both, you know, wrestling fans. I eventually started my own channel where I do music reactions, which was how me and Danny started doing this. Before wrestling stuff, we were doing music reactions and movie reviews and stuff, and it was very different. You know, we didn't have layouts like this. We just had a camera and we just talked at it and very roughly cut it up, and it was awful. You know, fast forward now, he inspired me to get a camera. He inspired me to get a mic. You know, back in the early stages of my channel, it was so different. I didn't look like this at all, you know, setting wise. And, you know, he inspired me to do this. He was the one, you guys were the ones that lended me the hand to be on the podcast as a guest in general in episode 3. And because of him, I'm still here. And because of him, I became a wrestling fan again. You know, I got back into it because of you guys. And I got to give, you know, credit where it's due, is that I'm as in deep in this because of you guys. So if anything, both y'all deserve your flowers. So,
And that's the thing. I feel like I got to give my flowers to you and Danny, obviously, because I have always been a content creator. I was always inspired by my cousin Trevor. That's how it all began. He made videos with his friends on a channel called Mover Productions. And that's what inspired me to do videos with my cousins and close friends with Donald's The Best One, which would later turn into DITB1, Best One Network, Donald's the Wizard One, all that old stuff. If you're a mark of me, you know, but there's only that little few.
you'll find stuff.
You'll find stuff. Don't go
Deep
on those
web.
channels, please. But all jokes aside, I've always been inspired doing this, and I feel like throughout the years as a content creator, I've always tried different videos. I've done NBA 2K19 videos, so I've done gaming. I've done basketball videos over on DBTV. I've done plush videos. I've done regular acting series, competition stuff, reality stuff. And now I get to talk about pro wrestling, doing podcasting. And I have to give my flowers to Danny on that, because if you go back to the early episodes, it all started off in Best One Studios, which now is literally like my toy freaking cave right now. We had a TV, we had a nice little set in Best One Studios for the talk show. And I've done talk shows before, but never podcasting. And Danny was the one that recommended it to me, because for the first couple episodes, first two episodes, I would get out of work, I would go pick Danny up, and then we would come back to my crib, film the episodes of the talk show without microphones like this. We would just have the regular microphone on the camera, which I use right now for my reactions, which works, but it didn't work out for the podcast. And then Danny suggested we should do this virtually and you should invest in like a microphone and do this, which I felt like was the only thing as a content creator I never did. Because for the longest time, the way I recorded reactions and stuff, I would just record from my camera, not on OBS or StreamYard or Zoom. I would just record like that and do it the hard way. So I never understood this side of content creating, and that I have to give flowers to you and Danny for that. Because if you look at the early episodes, my fucking background and my microphone was dog shit. Like, literally, my microphone was like this. Like, literally. I'd be like, what's going on, guys? You could barely hear me, but look at me now.
Look at me now. I'm getting papers. Look at me now. Look at
Like,
me
it's crazy to see as well how much we've evolved, like, our audio, how much we've evolved, like, our logo, and just overall, I feel
lighting.
like this product.
Our lighting is fire now.
For real, man. And like this all goes back to Danny, man. I got to give him his flowers because this was his idea to start doing the podcast like this and even changing it from the talk show to the podcast, which gave us more opportunities to grow.
And yeah, it would be safe to say that Danny was definitely one of like the fathers of how we do things. It is definitely safe to say for sure.
But here's what I also like too, and this is probably going to be the last thing I do say here. I love that we changed it from the talk show to the podcast because for people that have been following We Are Wrestling for all the way back to 2019 when myself and my oldest co-host Chaz Smith did this just as like a fun little project. I'm glad that it's called the podcast because throughout the time when we relaunched this with myself, you, and Danny, we created something really special and something different. And just to kind of separate from the people I worked with in the past to now, I love what we've created, and they can't take credit for the We Are Wrestling podcast because at the end of the day, this was my project, this was your project, and this was Danny's project. Nobody can take that away from us.
Yeah, man. And that I think is what's been really keeping it alive for sure, man. And it's been a thrill. And I'm glad to see that in some way that we're all thriving doing this.
Exactly. And I love that Danny, he's right now thriving over on his channel because that's the reason, like with Danny, with what happened, guys. Danny was like losing his passion for pro wrestling. He was getting burnt out doing the podcast and doing the watch alongs with us and predictions. And it just got to the point where he really needed to find himself. We needed to find ourselves. And it's really worked out for all three of us because right now, Danny, he's absolutely killing it over on his channel. And at the end of the day, I told Danny this and I told you this. You guys are my brothers for life. Seriously. I wouldn't be doing this without both of you.
For sure, man. And, vice versa, 100%, even on my own shit. It's the grind is real. It echoes. And I got to say too, when it comes to Danny and losing his passion, clearly it's there now. You can definitely see it in his videos. Like it's elevated, like even just the way that he words things, the pacing, he really has his own mind to think and how he sees things panning out. And I feel like his personality is starting to shine a lot more because he has his sole focus, because he is so hyperactive when it comes to YouTube and the web. He does so much content, so to add more on top of that was very hard. And I think it kind of was in all of our best interests, and I think it shows that ultimately the decision was hard at first, but
very hard.
It was the right one, I'm starting to feel like, because again, I think we all hit major milestones and everybody's thriving and we're still friends. So that's all that matters.
Exactly, and to me, that's the most important thing. And I'll admit, I definitely could have handled it a lot better. I'll be the first to say that. But I will say, I think We Are Wrestling, I think, was holding Danny back from reaching his full potential. Because the potential has always been there. Danny has been a workhorse doing YouTube for probably all the way back to like 2006, probably, since
20 years.
the
Almost
whole
20
thing
years
was
now?
created.
Yeah.
So like with Danny, with We Are Wrestling, because that's something about me as a content creator, and I noticed this with Danny as well. We're both very hands-on. And we like to, because we feel like our vision, that's why for me, I edit all my own videos, because I feel like other people can't get my vision. And I'm just like somebody that I have to do it for it to come out the way I want it to be. And I think Danny's the same way as well, which is why I think We Are Wrestling, even though it did bring us all a lot closer, which I am extremely grateful for, and I'm glad it has. I think for Danny as a content creator, it definitely held him back from reaching his full potential, because now that he doesn't have the chains on him, he can just freaking go. And that's when Danny, I think, gives the best work.
You said it all, man.
Absolutely. But, man, we are not done with We Are Wrestling 100, because up next, Ben and I, we're not going to be talking virtually through our cameras. We're going to be in person with the one and only Ricky Knows Best, because, of course, this week for We Are Wrestling 100, Ben is choosing to put over Kenny, my God, Omega. So what better way than to do it in person with a New Japan head like Ricky? So we're going to be doing, up next, we got the Getting Put Over segment and our main event, which for We Are Wrestling 100, we have 3 huge updates about the future of this We Are Wrestling brand. Some big things happening. So guys, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 100.
Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you. It's me, Ricky Williams. Moxley's just as crazy as him.
No, Ricky! Bullshit!
They do it too sometimes. I be catching it. It's me, Ricky Williams. Stop playing. But that's my opinion. He's so over. Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you.
We're back, and we're in person now. We're not virtual anymore. And, of course, we got Ricky Knows Best, Ricky Williams. Say what's up to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs.
What's up? Ricky knows best. The co-host with the most, the alien that just landed on the roof to get here. Shout out to We Are Wrestling, though. Shout out to the best one. Shout out to the uncle. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. So, man, 100 episodes. This is the first time within 100 episodes that we're recording on 2 different days. Because obviously, yesterday we recorded with Danny Huckins. What a great time catching up with him.
Oh, phenomenal.
But, of course, every week here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we do this thing called the Getting Put Over segment, where Ben and I, we alternate every week. We pick somebody past, present, or future, and we put that star over. Ricky, who are we putting over this week?
The cleaner, the best bout machine, the god of professional wrestling, Kenny Omega, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh. Kenny, my God, Omega. This was Ben's selection for 100. Where do we start, Ben?
Well, we'll start with the reason why it's going down, because we wanted to put over some smaller fish in a very big pond usually, but I kind of went with Kenny because he's got an expiration date coming, man. Especially with how much he's getting injured, and if he hits that back one more time, dude, that's it. He's done. We have to appreciate every moment we still have left with the cleaner. So it's what better way to do that than celebrate some Kenny Omega? So we can start wherever you guys want to start. I mean, this dude knows all the body of work, man.
Yes, sir.
He
And
knows all of it.
I think where we need to start is a little history lesson from Ricky Knows Best. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ricky, let's talk about Kenny Omega.
You want me to start with the championships or everything? The accolades?
Talk about the accolades.
Kenny Omega, a New Japan legend in my opinion. Everybody's opinion too. He's a former IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Former IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Former IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion. Former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion twice. Former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion with Kota Ibushi.
Oh my god.
Former G1 winner. Has one of the greatest matches of all time with Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Dominion in almost an hour and 7 minutes. This match was a 2 out of 3 falls match. It received the highest rating stars by the guy that everybody, Dave Meltzer.
Oh, I can't fucking stand Dave Meltzer. Come on.
7 stars.
We're supposed to be putting over Kenny Omega, not Dave Meltzer. Who gives a fuck about 7 stars, 2 stars, 1 star?
I had to put that in. I'm sorry.
7
sorry,
stars.
I had to put that in there. But that is the only 7-star. And on top of that, Kenny Omega, he came up with Kota Ibushi back in DDT Pro Wrestling.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So with Kenny Omega, there is something I do want to share in this Getting Put Over segment because for my birthday back in 2018, I actually got the opportunity to meet Kenny Omega. And man, I actually got the opportunity to watch him wrestle as well. And this was around the time where he was only going to the United States maybe 2-3 times a year. And I got to watch him wrestle a 60-minute match against Ray Phoenix. And going into this match, though, here's what I want to talk about. Because I never watched New Japan Pro Wrestling at this time, so I thought Kenny Omega wasn't all that. I thought he wasn't about it. He was all talk. But let me tell you this.
Sadly mistaken.
Watching him face Ray Phoenix in that 1-hour bout, seeing all of these reporters. There was like back in the 80s. Remember how like the old WrestleManias and stuff, they would have like paparazzi and like they would have like people like in front of like the ring. That's what happened during this Kenny Omega bout. And dude, let me tell you, the first 10 seconds, like I felt that energy when he came out to his original theme song, and I knew immediately, I'm like, dude, like I knew Omega was great, but he's a fucking legend.
Levels to this.
Levels to this shit, exactly.
That is probably one of the largest list of accolades in one company that I think I've ever fucking heard. That is a large list of accolades, dude.
You don't have to go to WWE to become a star, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
I feel like outside of WWE, if you're not like a day one talent, outside of WWE is where you make yourself a star. Because I remember back in the day when WWE was picking up self-made established stars already, but like now they've been, obviously, which is great. They're focusing on what they got, but at the same time, it's like maybe let's pick up some people, that got some new charisma. Because I think that's where we got to find that medium. But yeah, man.
And I think that's why Black and Gold NXT works so well, because they were bringing in former TNA wrestling stars. Yes. They even brought in some like New Japan guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, which Ricky, we will not get you riled up about.
I feel like that was the last big
Finn
sign
Balor
that fell through.
Finn Balor, that's a big one too.
Another Japanese legend, but that's for another day.
Prince Devitt, man, I can't wait to put him over sometime. But with Kenny Omega, let's talk about some of our favorite matches that we've watched him wrestle.
Him and Mox.
Him versus Mox. Are you talking? Which one? Because they had
probably their first bout, because that was fucking
match?
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Lights out match.
Yeah.
The lights out.
Yeah. There. I'll let you boys go while I'm thinking of the second one.
One match I really enjoyed watching live with Kenny Omega was him versus MJF at Mohegan Sun during an episode of
Collision.
It was Collision, yes.
Oh, that was recent.
Great match. Yep, that was one of Omega's last matches before he announced his injury.
My favorite Kenny Omega match. I just said it, but I got another one for y'all. My other favorite Kenny Omega match. Probably him and Will Ospreay last year at the Tokyo Dome for the IWGP United States Championship, or him and Ospreay at Forbidden Door.
When we do Ospreay, when we put him over, we gotta have him back for it too.
Oh, definitely for
him
sure.
back over for
Guys, I said this. I think I said this in the beginning of We Are Wrestling 100. I thought I was an encyclopedia when it comes to professional wrestling. This guy right here, he's the encyclopedia. I'm the dictionary.
Ricky knows best.
Ricky knows best, baby.
I'm just We Are Wrestling type, man.
Him and Ospreay at Forbidden Door, part 2, literally part 3 because they got 3 singles matches together.
That was a really good one.
Okada and Omega at the Tokyo Dome back in 2017.
Oh my god.
They had another classic at Dominion the same year. It went to a draw, so Okada retained, obviously. Then they had another one that year in the G1 Climax. That one was almost just as good, it just wasn't as long. But Omega got the win. And then their Dominion match in 2018, which was my favorite match of all time. My favorite Kenny Omega match is him and Okada, the 2 out of 3 falls. Almost went an hour and 7 minutes.
Man, you gotta shoot me some links, bro. You gotta shoot me some links, bro.
The storytelling in the match.
I have watched a lot of these too.
The storytelling in the match, it literally blew my mind. When Okada got the first pinfall, I already knew where I was going after that.
Yeah, bro, you gotta shoot me some links.
Definitely.
Those are my favorite Omega matches. I can keep going, but I want to keep it short.
With Kenny Omega, one thing I do have to say, though, about his AEW run, because I feel like a lot of the fans are more familiar with the AEW run because, obviously, right now they are the second promotion in the United States going against WWE. And with Kenny Omega, I gotta say, when he first joined AEW, I was very excited because I wanted New Japan Kenny. And it seemed like during the time, what the EVPs were doing, the Young Bucks, Cody, and even Kenny, they were putting over a lot of other talent during the time, and it kind of took away from that special attraction that Kenny Omega was. But then when he came back after his injury, when he went on the heel run with Don Callis, winning the AEW World Championship, I really enjoyed heel Kenny a lot.
There's some people that just really shine more when they're not strapped down to a group for too long. But at the same time, I kind of get it because, you know, Kenny kind of needs, like, you know, like, for example, you know, with what Riddle is doing with Randy, he needs all the protection he can get right now to kind of really get more out of his career and more time on it. And so I feel like having him with the Bucks was great, but it kind of hurt his momentum.
I thought the Trios division, having them as the Trio champions was brilliant.
No, it's
I
great.
thought that was great because that was a good way to bring Kenny Omega back after dealing with multiple injuries, and it was a good way to protect him, similar to like Malachi Black right now with House of Black.
For sure, and I feel like that helped. But, like, again, you know, certain things like that can definitely take a little bit of a hit. And it's like, I don't know, I do kind of want to see some pretty unhinged Kenny Omega. Like, Kenny Omega wrestling that 10-year-old in Japan. That shit was sick.
Wait, are you talking about the time when he wore the dress?
No, I'm talking about when he was just wearing his regular attire. That shit was sick. That shit was sick as fuck.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, Kenny moving over from New Japan to AEW, I felt like it was smart because you done proven your worth and your stakes over in Japan already. But sometimes you gotta adapt to a new style. You gotta, as the older you get,
with all those accolades,
He already accomplished more than everything, I think.
the older you get, the smarter you have to be too. Sometimes you have to work smarter, not harder, in certain situations.
1,000% agree, man.
Because if you keep working hard, and then you might mess your body up, and then you might not function right. So sometimes you gotta adjust yourself and adjust your style. So him going to AEW,
completely agree.
He kind of slowed down a little bit. Yeah, I want New Japan Kenny all the time too.
Thank you. Yep.
I want him all the time too, but
he's older now and he's got a lot.
I respect it.
No, but here's the thing, though.
I respect his health.
But here's the thing, though. I do want to say about this. With Kenny Omega, I feel like they could have brought New Japan Kenny, and the way they do that is you have him work less dates in the ring, make him feel like a special attraction, have him perform the pay-per-views, maybe 1 or 2 Dynamites here and there. Have him perform the pay-per-views, bring him back as that big draw, because like going to Northeast Wrestling back in 2018 when I got the opportunity to meet him, he felt like a big star because literally the way that they advertised it was, this is Kenny Omega's 3rd time in the United States in over like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It was big.
Another thing is too, it's like, you know, Kenny, man, it just... I hope to see him become part-time by 25. You know, I hope he ends up getting the Edge schedule. Like, he comes back for certain things, because it's like, if you want more out of his career and like, give him the time to prepare his body and his mental to become that New Japan Kenny Omega for a short amount of time, that's kind of how you're going to want to start doing it, because he's really starting to go a little bit, you know? Like, you're going to have to really bring him on the Edge schedule, let him really take time to get ready for every single big marquee match. Only maybe one match outside of the storyline here and there, but only save him for big pay-per-views like All In.
And that's the thing about Kenny Omega is he's such a special attraction, we don't need him to wrestle every week on TV.
Exactly. Just have him fucking there.
I feel like that's the solution
Yeah.
to the situation.
And he's already proven he's a draw. Depending on who you put him in the field with, he's a draw automatically.
Dude's a fucking nuts.
Oh, especially that clap that he does, that dun 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 dun. I love that shit.
And he can put on the classic with literally a 5-year-old in the ring.
I was just talking about that. That fucking
put on the
that 5-year-old fucking carried herself in the ring doing that quick little thing he did with her, but he also made her look great, bro. And his selling, dude, was top notch for that kid, man. And he killed it. He fucking killed it.
So something I do want to ask Ricky, because you're so familiar with Kenny Omega, I want to know, like, do you follow Jim Cornette by any chance?
Somewhat.
Do you know, like, what the background is between Kenny and Jim? Because every time I be listening to Jim Cornette's podcast about Kenny Omega, I think Kenny Omega is one of a kind. He is one of the greatest to ever step foot in this ring. But easily. Jim Cornette, he just has some type of vendetta with him. I don't understand what it is.
I think...
He's the R. Kelly on your shoulder. Where there's an angel on one shoulder, he's the R. Kelly.
I think, in my opinion, Jim Cornette is my opinion.
By all means.
I think he doesn't like the more newer generation. I think he prefers the old school wrestling type of styles.
I just wish he would just say it.
You see teams like FTR, right? They're literally like an old school type of wrestling team. Like, he likes the old school wrestling styles more than the new school guys. I think he considers the new school guys like a little bit careless, which I disagree completely. Like, these guys are putting their bodies on the line for us every single night.
Yeah, but sometimes the bumps are unnecessary. But like with Kenny Omega, I don't understand his hatred for him. I think it does go back to like Ring of Honor around that time.
I think so.
Because I remember Jim Cornette was like a booker, and I think him and Kenny Omega, they had like a disagreement.
Man, everybody has a rookie moment. Everybody goes through like where they don't know what the fuck to do, or they don't realize, you know, that they're stepping on toes. Everybody has a learning curve, but some people just get so up the ass about it. Like, for example, Jim Cornette.
And that's the thing okay, but here's the thing I will say, because this is We Are Wrestling 100, and I think the reason why I love doing this podcast so much is because we're so open-minded. And despite not liking somebody, we'll call it like it is. If like Mercedes Moné last week, we know how you feel, but last week you gave her flowers last week.
I did.
And yeah, you had some solid reasons.
Was I drunk? Oh, yeah. No.
But like, when we're wrong, we actually take accountability. I feel like a lot of these wrestling podcasters out here, they let their personal issues with somebody determine how they feel about something. And I feel like that's just...
Yeah,
it's how are you supposed to learn? How are you supposed to grow?
Because, like, with people like Kenny and with people like Mercedes, it's a very acquired taste. Like, they're both great in their own right. I'll never fucking understand Mercedes' hype, but that's okay. I can't deny that she has made a lot of fucking
money,
but she also has a lot of accolades, and there's people that do back her, and I'm not gonna discredit that. Like, obviously, somebody thought she was good enough to achieve all of this success, and you know what? Great on her. I just think that her fucking promo work and her attitude is just a pile of hot garbage on the sunniest fucking day on the sun.
But you see here, though. Okay, but that's the thing, though. I totally understand, and I totally respect that. Yeah. But you still, despite how you feel about her, you still give her credit where it's due.
1,000%.
And I feel like a lot of other wrestling podcasters out there, if they hate somebody, no matter if they do something good, like Kenny Omega, for example, they will just find a way to criticize it. They'll find a way to hate it, and I just don't understand that.
I'm not toxic in that way. Like, I'm very vocal about my dislikes, and I'll give you every reason under the book, but, I mean, if the person has the accolades, it speaks for itself. So it's like, you know, people aren't wrong for feeling the way they do, but then again...
It's like, hey, like, what's my opinion all
Same
about?
thing with Kenny Omega, you know? A lot of people fucking despise him, but I, you know, am one of the people that fucking love him.
I love
So,
Omega,
you know,
too.
it's an acquired taste.
Top
you know?
5 dead or alive.
Yep.
Not Sammy Diaz included. Sorry.
Oh, Ricky!
No, I didn't mean it like that. That was a...
All right, so let's rewind a little bit. Let's get back to Kenny Omega.
I'll explain that later.
One of your favorite Kenny Omega feuds.
Honestly, oof. I forgot who the fuck he was feuding
Hangman
with.
Adam Page.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hangman. I think it was.
That was a good one.
I was gonna say during the time when Danielson made his debut. That was a really
Yeah, so
good
when
fucking feud.
you're talking about when Hangman finally won the championship,
Yes.
that feud right there.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
honestly, I gotta go with that because that was a long time building up.
Yes, it
the
was.
feud. And I thought it was a perfect ending. It's just unfortunate that Hangman lost a lot of momentum.
I think
after winning the
21.
championship.
I think 2021 was like one of the last times I was like genuinely paying attention to like a lot of things that was going on throughout AEW. Now I barely fucking check, but then I had, you know, my eyes on people like, again, Hangman, MJF, fucking Mox and how he was doing over there. Danielson's debut, you know, Adam Cole coming in the same night, you know.
Gotta love
fucking
Adam
A1.
Cole.
You got a heel and a face in the same night. So I mean, two big WWE guys. It was a great fucking night, and that just escalated everything going forward. So I mean, that was a great feud.
I think the Hangman page is low key. It's at Kenny's peak. I think after that match,
Yeah, I gotta agree.
that's where he officially, and I've noticed it by watching his matches, Kenny's style kind of changed a lot more after that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with like injuries and
Yep.
like his health.
Because after that match, he went on hiatus for like almost 9 months.
I thought it was like a year, wasn't it?
Almost, like literally 9 months.
And then he
Literally
came
almost
back.
a
He
year.
came back with the Elite, and they won the Trio Championships.
And then the year after,
Pop
him
is
and
nuts.
All right, so now with Kenny Omega, a lot of people love the fantasy book, and I think this is the best way to end this getting put over segment. Who is one person you want to see Kenny Omega wrestle? Anybody?
Let me get it. I got it first. AJ Styles.
Ooh, Omega versus AJ Styles. Did they ever wrestle in New Japan?
No. Let me get to it a little bit before we get.
I'm surprised.
AJ is the reason Kenny became a star. Because when AJ's contract was up in New Japan, he went straight to WWE. I'm pretty sure people noticed. Kenny he turned on AJ and became the new Bullet Club leader. So AJ literally skyrocketed Kenny's career to the next level, low key.
Wait, can I just say, like, before Ben, you give your answer to like
I have two
fantasy,
answers.
real quick. I do want to say this about that Bullet Club thing. I remember when Marty Scurll joined Bullet Club, the way they did that with Kenny Omega on the screen, and then the Young Bucks super kicked Adam, and then he had the umbrella. I thought that was one of the coolest freaking
You know what I thought they were going to do with that, and they never did? I thought they were going to get like a revenge storyline in AEW for Adam Cole for that, but they never really got into
Yeah.
that. Really.
I don't think they did. I think
Adam Cole
injuries,
turning
right?
on. Yep, Adam Cole turning on the Elite right there.
Yeah, but then they dealt with injuries, and then Bobby Fish left. Yeah, that's a big what
that
if.
could have been a good feud right there. The Elite versus the Undisputed. That would have been a.
Oh, that would have been so
feud.
good. But Ben, all right, who's your two?
My two, and I don't think I need an explanation for either. My two dream matches that I would pay a lot of fucking money and probably give up like a testicle for at least one of the matches to actually happen. My second answer, like my second in line answer, would be Roman Reigns. But my first answer, ultimately, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega.
Oh my God, Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega. That's
Seth
money
Rollins
right
and
there.
Seth Rollins and Kenny Omega. That is my first. That is like I want to
I gotta
happen,
give you that
but
one.
I would accept Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega.
That's also, I think that's a really good matchup because, like, Kenny Omega obviously is one of the greatest in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Roman is one of the greatest characters right now. So combine those two, that right there by
Money.
itself, money.
But if you want the all-around, just god-like feel like you're watching a battle between gods on Mount fucking Olympus itself, you want Kenny and Seth. You want Kenny and Seth.
Which Seth Rollins? My bad.
Which
Seth
Seth
Rollins
Rollins?
are you using? That's the question.
Oh, which Seth Rollins?
Ricky is coming in hot.
You want to
You
know?
gotta put the right. You gotta put the right Seth Rollins.
The
in
right
with
Seth
him there.
Rollins.
You gotta put the right one in there with him.
Ricky, I hope you're not thinking Tyler Black.
I was actually thinking that was actually one of my answers for like if we're gonna go like more of like a rough style. But if you want my actual answer, and I'm gonna give you why. The reason I want this Seth Rollins, I want the one we have currently, because the one we have currently is every single Seth Rollins we've ever had in one person.
I agree.
So this person, if done correctly, you could play this off like a fucking anime. Because Seth is somebody for theatrics, Kenny's somebody from theatrics. They both understand what it's like in the film and universe and creative world. You could literally have a match between Seth where it's a fucking grapple style. Kenny starts doing some high flying shit. Seth can automatically fucking jump into that style, and they're like clashing. You could have 5-star fucking matches and get some main character energy out of both of them.
That's so true.
I didn't want to use the 5-star thing. I'm sorry for early. I didn't want to.
Yeah. Nah, that's all good. Like
I'm sorry.
you can talk about stars,
Alright,
just
bro.
don't mention that guy's name.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this right now.
He's irrelevant.
This is how good the match could be if it's done right. Hour long, Sukuna versus Gato. Or Gojo. Sukuna versus Gojo. Satoru Gojo versus Sukuna Ryomen.
Guys, I don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me how fucking A1 that shit would be. You know for a fact that that's exactly how it would turn out.
I got a book Uncle Ben right there.
That's what I'm saying. Boom. That's why. That's why. Sukuna versus Gojo.
Alright,
Boom.
so Kenny Omega.
Best way to put it.
I got two. My first one has got to be Kenny Omega versus John Cena.
Ooh.
I would love to see that. And right now, they low-key have been teasing something. Because they've been talking about each other back and forth. Omega on his streams. John Cena has been posting pictures of them on Instagram.
But how would they do that?
It's the same thing with Roman. Cena's one of the greatest characters of all time.
No, I'm
Kenny
saying, like,
is
how
one
would
of the
they make
best
it
in the
happen,
rings.
though?
How are they gonna book it without like
how would they book
legal
it?
problems?
Yeah, how would they book that?
Do
though?
something like an invasion angle. Like back like with WCW,
I don't
man.
know if Tony would fucking
Tony's
be
not
down
gonna
for
do
it.
that,
Damn,
though.
Tony's not gonna be down.
Come on now, I'm fantasy booking right now, okay?
Oh,
we know this ain't happening in real
Gotcha.
life.
Oh, okay.
Alright? Like just like AJ versus it's not probably gonna happen.
Sorry, we got real serious.
Because AJ's not leaving WWE after some of the comments he's made this past week. But the second dream match that I would have for Kenny Omega, and I'm sure he's already wrestled this guy, and I feel like we're gonna get this at All In. I think that I would love to see Okada versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, Okada and Okada too?
At All
It's number 5.
In.
Part 5.
Part 5.
Part 5.
At All In.
The Rainmaker versus the Cleaner?
But here's why this is such a dream to me, because I love what they...
hot.
That's the thing, though. I love what they have done with the EVPs. I love this new character, the Young Bucks.
Matthew and Nicholas.
Yes, I love what they're doing, and bringing in Okada, replacing Kenny Omega, that right there is the fucking story. And I think going into All In at Wembley Stadium, that can fill up that friggin' stadium.
Remember during the Okada Omega feud in Japan, Omega was the heel literally every single time except their last match over there. So them switching the roles actually is a money move.
Isn't Okada a heel right now though?
Yes. No,
Yes,
but
he
no,
is.
the first times they wrestled.
Yeah,
he
and
was
like,
the face.
yeah, I guess Ricky...
Now they're flipping the roles.
Yeah, because when Ricky
shit, okay.
Ricky was on the episode of the podcast with me a few weeks back, one thing that he did say was about the whole about the whole Okada thing.
Yeah.
This was the first time that he's been heel since...
Since 2012.
He's been a heel since 2012.
No, face.
That's what...
Oh.
No, he's been a
He's
face.
been a babyface since 2012.
So I love that they waited for him to go somewhere else to finally flip the script, dude. That's
You gotta
fucking...
And
flip
that's
it, though.
why...
You
No,
gotta
but that's
flip it,
why,
that's
guys.
Yeah.
That's why. That's my dream match at All In.
Don, you might be cooking, dude. It was getting sizzly over here for a second there. Oh, shit.
But Okada needed that too. He needed that.
I'm not going to lie. I can't argue with any of your
All right.
guys' answers either.
We got to rewind because we got 2. Ricky only got 1. So if you
Ricky,
want to throw
one
in
more.
a second one, bro,
One
throw
more,
in a
baby.
second. Throw in a second, bro.
Okay, I got Kenny and AJ, right?
Yeah. So who's the other one for Kenny?
Can it be this era or can
Oh, it could be any era.
Any era, man. Fantasy
era.
bucket, baby.
Kenny Omega? I don't know if y'all familiar with this one. And I think he's the next big thing. Y'all call me crazy. His name, he's in TNA right now. Leon Slater.
I have heard of him. Yeah, he's that young guy that they signed, right?
Leon Slater.
Really?
He gives me Will Ospreay vibes.
Ooh, you think this might be a little Osprey?
No, like he's gonna be the next big thing in wrestling.
Oh.
They call me crazy every single time.
All I gotta
this
say,
stuff.
guys, is
Okay, you might be cooking.
Ricky knows best.
They called me crazy every single time. I said the same thing about Kenny Omega. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
And now he's fucking the
They said the same thing with Will Ospreay. Look at him now. One of the best in the world, correct?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Enough said.
And I think that's exactly why we put over Kenny Omega for the Getting Put Over segment. Next week, I get to pick who we're putting over for episode 101. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you because we just talked about Kenny Omega putting him over. Next week, Ben, you and I, we're putting over Eugene. We're putting over
How did we go from Kenny Omega to Eugene, bro? Are you what the fuck? How are you gonna hit me with that fucking tsunami out of nowhere? Fucking Kenny Omega to fucking Eugene? Like, I love Eugene, but what the fuck, Donnie?
I can't get over his debut video. I watch it like once a week.
What the fuck? Eugene?
When he goes up to Jerry Lawler, he takes over the commentary.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, he does not get his flowers, so next week on the Getting Put Over segment, we're putting over fucking Eugene whether you like it or not.
You're gonna make me tell them the story about how that time when they were like cussing at him to get the fuck out of the ring, get the fuck out of the arena, I almost literally started crying because I couldn't stand seeing him bullied, but then I literally rose from the ashes like a phoenix the moment Hulk Hogan's music fucking hit. I rose through the ashes at 9 years old.
And Ricky, I gotta ask you, what's your thoughts on us going from Kenny Omega this week to next week? We're gonna put over Eugene.
He's like, I'm glad I'm not there.
I mean,
oh my god.
People can get their knowledge in. They don't know, the people that don't know Eugene can get their knowledge in down.
Exactly. Ricky knows best. Exactly. So before we close off episode 100, I have a couple huge announcements for We Are Wrestling. I feel like there's no better time to announce this than right now in front of Uncle Ben and, of course, Ricky Knows Best for the We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 100. This is our main event right here, and these are some pretty big updates. So, starting things off. So, one of our huge updates that we're going to announce right now on the We Are Wrestling Podcast 100, going into the rest of 2024, We Are Wrestling, we plan on doing more interviews. And we will be announcing the name of the new podcast that we're going to be doing interviews on. It will still be a part of We Are Wrestling, so don't worry about that. We just want to separate the podcast and the interviews into a whole different category. Which, by the way, this coming week, I am going to be doing a one-on-one interview for an extra with Top 5 Dead or Alive. Sammy Diaz, baby. Very excited about that. Our next news update. We Are Wrestling. Man, so you guys all know if you guys join us on the watch-alongs, we're always in my living room doing them. Well, that is going to be changing at the end of 2024 because the Best One Studios, we are doing some more renovating. Don't worry, my toys are not going anywhere. My fiance is still pissed about that, but we are going to be having a whole nother room for watch-alongs only.
It's gonna be lit.
And we're gonna have a nice big TV, we're gonna have a nice comfortable couch, and it's gonna be good vibes in there. I'm not gonna have to move my living room around, and it'll be a great film room as well, so that we can do more videos in person, whether it's me and Ricky, me and Ben, and we can even probably do more podcast in person in that room, which will be pretty cool.
That'll be sick as fuck.
So we are gonna be expanding the Best One Studios towards the end of 2024. And we're going to be getting into work going into early May on that. So, big things are happening. Last but not least, this is something that I think I've been advertising since the very first episode. So, 100 episodes later, I finally did it, guys. We Are Wrestling. We have a merch website, finally.
Yeah.
And we have limited edition We Are Wrestling Attitude Trucker Snapback hats. They're very limited right now. And Attitude shirts for sale. So guys, if you are interested in buying some We Are Wrestling swag, you can officially do it on our website, which will be the first link down in the description below. Is there anything else before we close off We Are Wrestling 100?
We Are Wrestling 100. Here's to 100, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 more. See you guys down the road in the future.
Shout out to Shout out to all the We Are Wrestling heads I watch. Shout out to the best one here, and then shout out to Uncle Ben, man.
America's favorite uncle.
Ricky knows best.
And that's the thing, man. I got to give my shout-outs one final time. Got to give a shout-out to Danny Huckins, man. He was a big part of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Loved having him on the first half of this special. Because like I said, if it wasn't for Danny, man, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. I also got to give my flowers and give a shout-out right here to my guy, Ben. Because he has always been coming in clutch as my co-host for the We Are Wrestling podcast. And I even have to give my flowers to Old School Phil, even though sometimes he does talk a lot out of his ass and he makes me fall asleep. And I also got to give a shout out to, right here, man, Ricky Knows Best for being a part of We Are Wrestling. And I just love how much this podcast has made us all grow closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm beyond grateful, and cheers to 100 more.
100 more, man.
1,000 more, 1,000,000 more. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, guys, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. Actually, no. Scratch that. Let us know in the comment section below your favorite episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Let us know. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast, 2 days we recorded. One in person, one virtually. Smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. This was a special, so that's why it's a little longer than our normal episodes, but we'll be going back to normal next week with our hour-and-a-half shows. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already over on the YouTube channel, you can get lots of great free content. Subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me, Ben, Ricky, Danny. All of our links are down in the description below. And the first link will be the new merchandise website. So guys, go get yourself some We Are Wrestling merch. Because, man, you guys are already maniacs, so you might as well get the swag. So that we can all friggin' pull up somewhere like an army.
The drip is real.
And to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we love each and every one of you guys that listen to this entire podcast. Because, of course, you already know, the grind is real. We are taking over. Peace.